I never expected anything to come of it. The link had been buried in a comment thread, somewhere between a joke about encrypted dog photos and a rant on data mining. It simply read, "Mystery box. Real. Ships fast. BTC only." Something about the bluntness caught my attention. I'd been down rabbit holes before. Mostly curiosity-fueled spirals through forums, archives, or broken marketplaces where you could buy handwritten letters or obsolete tech parts. It wasn't a thrill-seeking thing, just habit. I didn't use my real name, of course. Never did. I used a wallet I'd created 6 months earlier and sent the equivalent of 40 euros to a string of characters with no expectation of a return. 3 weeks passed. No emails, no ping. Then a cardboard box arrived. It was taped tightly with gray industrial strips. No branding, no stamp, just my P.O. box label printed in lowercase. I let it sit on the table for an hour. The corners were dented. One side had what looked like an oily fingerprint. I used a utility knife to open it, careful not to damage whatever was inside. No padding. Just a small plastic container wrapped in bubble wrap, sealed with a red zip tie. I cut it. Inside was a human finger. It was dry. Not decayed, but clearly aged. The nail had been clipped recently. No rings, no markings. It had been cleaned. I held it in the plastic with 2 fingers, checked the container for anything else. Nothing. No message. No indication of why it had been sent. The trash was collected on Wednesdays. I put the container in a separate bag and double-wrapped it, stuffing it into the bin behind a row of wine bottles. The lid slammed shut louder than I'd expected. I didn't tell anyone, not out of fear. I just didn't have anything to say about it that wouldn't sound manufactured. The more I thought about it, the less clear I became on why I'd even ordered the box in the first place. I deleted the link from my notes and went about the day. That night, my apartment buzzer went off at 2:14 a.m. I didn't answer. It buzzed again, and again, then nothing. The next morning I checked the camera feed from the hallway. No one visible. But the buzzer had definitely been triggered. Over the next week I kept thinking back to the nail. Clean, clipped, not bitten. Whoever it belonged to had expected their hand to be seen. I wasn't sleeping well. I stopped opening my mail. 10 days later, a package showed up at my actual building address. Same tape. No label this time. Inside, a key. Just a standard door key on a plain tag with the number 204. No return address, no note. Nothing. I took it upstairs and left it on the kitchen counter. 2 hours later, the building lost power for 20 minutes. The outage covered only our street. No construction, no notice. I tested the key on my door just to see. Didn't fit. I checked the floor directory for the building. No unit 204. I asked the landlord if any of the locks had been changed lately. He said no. At some point, I began wondering if the finger and the key were connected. There was no clear link. Different packaging, different delivery routes, but the same tape, same weight, same precision. On a Sunday afternoon, I went out and bought a prepaid phone, used it to create a new browsing profile, and accessed a different deep web forum. I asked about the box. I didn't post the photo. I just asked what people had received. One person replied, "What did yours smell like?" I didn't answer. I went offline for 3 days. When I logged back in, my post had been deleted, my account locked. I moved the key to a drawer and forgot about it for a while. Then one night I dreamed I was standing in front of a metal door with the number 204 on it. I wasn't scared, just aware of how silent everything was. When I woke up, the key was on the floor beside my bed. I checked the drawer. It was closed. No one had access to the apartment but me. I don't sleepwalk. I left it where it was and went out for coffee. 2 days later, my phone vibrated. Unknown number. Just a message. You still have it. That evening, I went through all my apps, checked permissions, scanned everything. No malware, no cloned SIM. I replaced the phone anyway. I moved apartments 2 weeks later. Different district, different ISP. I updated nothing except utilities. Nothing else arrived. I haven't used the deep web since. I joined the chat room because it didn't ask for an email. Most of them do, even the sketchy ones. But this one opened with just a username prompt. No banner, no rules, no icons. A blank page and a chat box. The title read, quiet.ones.only. I typed hi and waited. Nothing. I closed the tab. Later that night, I reopened it out of boredom. The username field was already filled in. I don't remember typing it, but it said, no voice. The chat log was empty, except for a single message timestamped 2 hours before. 02/19. Welcome. I typed a question. What is this for? No reply. I left it open and went back to work. When I returned to the tab 20 minutes later, another message had appeared. 2:46. Still here. I closed the laptop. Over the next few days, I checked in on the chat room occasionally. The layout never changed. White background, black text, nothing else. A few new messages would appear each time, never directly answering anything I typed. 0301. We remember you. 413. We like quiet people. 157. No one else understands. I stopped replying. One night I left the page open while I took a shower. When I came back, the message log had updated again. 2:34. You leave your phone near the sink. Water damage voids warranty. I hadn't mentioned that to anyone. I unplugged the router and didn't reconnect it until the next morning. At work, I asked around if anyone had heard of the site. No one had. The name didn't return anything on search engines. I tried using a screenshot search. Nothing. I checked the code source of the page. There were no external calls, no cookies, no scripts. Just a static page. I set up a fresh laptop, completely clean install, different IP. I accessed the link through a Tor mirror I had saved. The username field autofilled again. No voice. This time, when I logged in, a new message appeared immediately. 00:04. The second laptop has bad battery life. Plug it in. I didn't type anything. The next night, the message log said, 1:31. You're sitting too close to the screen. I shut the lid. That weekend, I left town to visit family. Took only my phone. The chat room didn't cross my mind until Monday night, after I returned. I checked it again out of habit. Same username. Same minimal layout. A message had been posted during the weekend. 3:22. Your aunt's house smells like bleach. I didn't know what to do with that. I hadn't mentioned the trip online. No texts, no photos. The only camera I'd used was a disposable one. 2 days passed with no new messages. Then 5:45. We prefer you alone. I went to sleep and didn't open the page for almost a week. I started using my desktop more. I kept the camera covered. I changed all my passwords. Nothing else happened. until one night I received a message on my personal email. The subject line was blank. The sender address was just a string of characters. No message body, just an attachment, a low-resolution photo of me sitting at my desk, looking at the screen. I recognized the shirt. I'd worn it 3 nights ago. I stopped sleeping well after that. I put tape over every lens I could find. I ran scans. I wiped the old drive and destroyed it. Still, a week later, when I opened the new machine to check the weather, a browser window opened automatically. One table. The site was already loaded. My username was still no voice. The chat log read, 4:04, nice shirt. 4:05. Why did you stop replying? I didn't stay long enough to see what came next. The next morning, a slip of paper was wedged into my mailbox. No envelope, just a single sentence, typed with a faded ribbon. This is not a test. I took it inside and burned it in the kitchen sink. The edges curled slowly as if resisting. Later that day, I walked past the window and saw a delivery truck idling across the street. Same one I'd seen on my way to work 3 days earlier. The driver never stepped out. The engine didn't shut off. I started unplugging everything in the apartment. Camera, printer, router. I threw out my smart bulbs. I shut down my desktop and covered it with a towel. At 1:12 a.m., a message appeared in the chat. 1:12. Unplugging won't help. We're already local. I checked the wall behind the desk. I hadn't noticed the faint drill marks before. I began searching the apartment. Vents, outlets, under the cabinets. I found a device behind the radiator, size of a thumb drive, sealed in matte plastic, no branding. I flushed it, then flushed the second one I found under the coffee table. The chat room stayed quiet for 3 days. Then 0042, creative, but inefficient. I packed a suitcase and booked a one-way ticket under a new name. I left the apartment unlocked. That was 8 months ago. I live somewhere with no address on my lease. I pay in cash, no devices except a burner with no SIM, used only for checking bus schedules. 2 nights ago, I walked into a laundromat and saw a screen flicker as I passed. A laptop someone had left open. White background, black text, username already filled in. No voice, message log 0217, welcome back. I bought the drive from a guy called Spencer on a hidden market that didn't stay online long. No feedback, no profile pic, no listings before or after. Just a single item called unreleased footage. Genre, horror, priced at 0.015 Bitcoin. The description was vague, independent, disturbing, raw, not for streaming. Must be seen offline. I didn't really expect it to show up. 2 weeks later, a padded envelope arrived. No return address. The USB drive was black, unmarked, no brand. I scanned it with 2 antiviruses before opening. Nothing flagged. Inside, 87 video files. All .mp4. No metadata. Just numbered. vid 001 to vid 087. I opened the first one. Static. Then low-quality night footage of someone walking through a wooded area. No dialogue. 37 minutes of handheld footage with barely a plot. But something about the way it was edited felt deliberate. Most of the clips followed that pattern. Grainy footage, minimal lighting, natural audio. No actors I recognized. Some were found. footage style, others filmed more covertly, like surveillance. Vid 008 was shot in what looked like a parking garage. No cars, no signs. Just two people standing apart in the dark. No words exchanged. One eventually walked out of frame. The other stayed still until the end. By Vid 023, I started noticing a theme. Most scenes involve people being watched, not attacked, not chased, just observed. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be seeing until Vid 034, which showed a sleeping man in a hotel room. The footage cut suddenly to the same room from a different angle, lower this time, like from beneath the bed. There was no jump scare, just stillness. I watched 20 clips that night. I kept waiting for the violent climax. It never came. Nothing happened. But each time I clicked the next file, it felt more like I was participating than just watching. The videos weren't horror in the traditional sense. They felt closer to documentation, as if whoever filmed them had no interest in entertainment. Vid 049 was a birthday party. Apartment, maybe late 2000s. Kids, balloons, a cake. The camera never focused on the celebration, just the hallway outside the room, like it was waiting for someone not yet there. By Vid 063, I'd stopped watching them in order. I clicked randomly, sometimes skipping entire sections, but one clip stuck with me. Vid 0 2. It started with a door, metal, industrial, the kind you see in maintenance corridors. The footage cut to stairs, then a bare basement room lit by a single utility bulb. The floor was wet. I paused. The angle looked familiar. I recognized the color of the walls, the exposed pipes, not from my place, but from a friend's building. Tom. He lived 3 blocks away. His basement had that same uneven concrete floor with a rust-colored streak by the drain. I texted him a photo of the paused frame, asked if it looked like his place. He replied 2 minutes later, "That's our basement. Why?" I didn't answer. I scrubbed through the rest of the video, 8 minutes long. Nothing happened until the final 60 seconds. A person entered the frame wearing all black. They knelt and placed a small object near the drain. Then the screen went dark. I replayed it twice. I couldn't make out what the object was. I went over to Tom's place the next day. Said I wanted to borrow a book. He buzzed me in. While he looked for it, I asked if I could use the basement. Made up something about measurements for a project. He gave me the key. It smelled like dust and metal. The bulb flickered when I pulled the chain. Same rust stain, same pipe pattern. Near the drain was a burn mark, about the size of a coin, no object. I didn't mention it to Tom. That night I opened the folder again. I wanted to delete it, but instead I clicked Vid 087, the last one. A fixed shot of a living room. Dull blue couch, a coat on a chair, faint sound of traffic. Nothing moved. I stepped away to grab a drink. When I came back, the camera angle had shifted. Now it was filming from the hallway outside the room. Same coat, same couch, same layout as my apartment. I paused the video, walked into my living room. The coat was still there. I checked the hallway. Empty. I replayed the video from the beginning. This time I let it run through. Minute 6. The camera moved again, now just outside a window, looking in. I closed every curtain, shut the laptop, unplugged it. The next morning I threw the USB drive in a public trash bin 4 neighborhoods away. When I got home, the laptop had powered itself back on. One window open, File Explorer. 87 files still there, same names. but a new one had appeared. Vid 088. No thumbnail preview. I didn't click it.